The deeper we get into the Sarah Boone trial, the less her interrogation makes sense. Not that it made sense before. We've been revisiting that interrogation, and we're doing even more of that today in this video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. The sofa is not here today because we are not at the usual place. Instead, it's welcome back to the bed, I guess. Reporting live from the bed. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be revisiting the Sarah Boone interrogation. This is like the, fourth installment of this or whatever. So what I wanted to do is this. A lot of people asked me to go back over this because the original video that I did of this was like years ago when this first came out. So as the trial has neared and now that it's underway, it's completely different viewing this with what we know now, right? So if you're familiar with the channel, you'll know what I do is I typically go through a video and I pull out like the highlights and the things I want to talk about. With this interrogation, I am literally going through it verbatim. I'm not picking little parts out because every little bit of it is so interesting to me. And so that's why I'm kind of breaking it up into pieces like this, or else it would be like some massively long video. I might have them all combined when we're done, just for people who want to like see the whole thing or whatever. Now, if you are new to the channel, I always like to make sure that everybody knows up front before we get into anything. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a shrink, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a cop, I'm not a detective, I'm not any of that fancy credentialed stuff. The only credentials we have here are a sofa and some sass and little puppies. So just know that these are literally just my opinions on very public stuff. I urge you to come up with your own opinion, share them in the comment section or whatever, right? But that's all it is. It's just like us hanging out as friends here in the sofa, talking about these cases, letting, talking about our opinions on those. So just know that this is not like some kind of like credentialed official, kind of a thing or whatever. So that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, also, as you can see, I have one of the puppies here. This is Luke. If you're familiar with the channel, again, you know we got Luke and Bo, our new little mascots. Bo is with a bigger group, his brothers, if you will, his cousins, I should say. And Luke is with me. And so he is going to hold the fort down and hold the Sofa Squad down while we go over more Sarah Boone. So let's get started.
This is what it feels like when you're choking me. This is what it feels like.
Which was however long ago.
You said
the video was from last night.
Clearly,
so it wasn't that.
Yet.
Yeah.
There's still feelings towards it. You wouldn't say it if you didn't feel it.
But I would never do that.
But it happened, and you did.
But that's after being playful.
But no one's
and
laughing.
having a good day.
No one's laughing except you.
Everybody's having a good day. Oh, I'm sorry?
I would hate to see a bad day.
Again, what we have learned from this case, okay, is that all the way from the state attorney to the detectives, I'm talking grade A snark and like one-liners and comebacks, okay? Like literally this team, individually or collectively, could do stand-up comedy, right? Especially the state prosecutor. Like he's so over it and has such a dry, sarcastic sense of humor. These detectives are the same way. And I can't think of her name right now, but the female detective who we've all like just fallen in love with, right? With her professionalism. She's, stunning, gorgeous woman up there, helping justice come to fruition, whatever. This dude here, just has this like snark. I'd hate to see what a bad day looks like. Now, also what we have learned aside from all that or whatever is watching this, we now know. We've seen some of this evidence. We've heard the 911 phone call. We know that Sarah's saying, oh, I was a battered spouse. This is battered spouse syndrome. This is what happened. That's what happened. We know the injuries, with the baseball bat scenario. This is way worse. Now, we also have seen at this point. So when I'm filming this, let me go and say this in the beginning. We are entering the very beginning of the trial. We've done like opening statements. And I think we're getting to like day 2, maybe, I believe, of actual trial, like testimony, right? So we've seen them open the suitcase. We saw the lady have a hard time doing it. Now, one thing that is obvious to you if you've been watching this at this point, and here it is right here as well, where Sarah's like, but I didn't do that. She doesn't grasp that it's like, but it's on video. I think at the heart of this is this thing that she is trying to go with of, it's not intentional, I didn't do that. Well, now that we've seen or listened to whatever, all the way from the very beginning of the 911 phone call to Brian, her ex, getting on the stand saying, I had to tell her multiple times to call 911. She wanted to go outside and have a drink, right? So we've seen this behavior. So what I'm trying to say is this, where she's already at this point, like, but I didn't do that. That was not intentional. You're making me nervous. nervous. If you look at the energy she served in the very beginning, it was, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Oh my God, I messed up. Oh my God, I did this. I think that Sarah has been and is someone who has to think quick on her feet, and I don't know how you say it, but like whether she has to or she's able to think quick on her feet to get out of trouble, to get what she wants to manipulate. And I think that what we've seen now going through this, arriving to here, because remember, this is just like a couple of days after the event, or like next day or whatever it is, right? I mean, this is very close to the event, the interrogation. She's already had time to get those wheels spinning of how she's going to spin this, and we've just seen that escalate throughout the case to where we're at now, where it's like, I don't want to take a 15-year plea deal. I don't want to do this. I didn't do this. But again, the snarkiness, grade A, I'm here for it. Let's keep going.
Y'all are making me out to be a person that I'm not. Or will I ever be.
Or are you a different person when you're drunk?
People have different personalities after they consume alcohol.
It depends. Because
you're sober now, so sober you.
Nice
Well, what
person,
about drunk
easy
you?
going.
Let's pause there for a second. First of all, I do think this is a huge thing in this case. And we've talked about this on the live chats and on some of the videos in the comment sections and whatnot. Well, a couple of things here. Number one, like, you know how you meet some people? They don't even have to be alcoholics. They could just have a certain aversion to a substance, alcohol, whatever, where when it touches their lips, they're a different person. Doesn't even have to be drunk. I've literally seen people on their first drink, the second it touches their lips, the look comes over them. You're dealing with somebody different. And it's so wild to me when you see that, because it's like, they're not drunk, right? It's weird. I think this is the case with Sarah. Now, also in the way that one of the things that was very big for me in trial and whatnot is them bringing those big old jugs of wine out, and we were like, oh, I've been envisioning a normal bottle of wine, which I'm like, I mean, granted, depending on your tolerance, which I would assume she has a high tolerance, I was like, how can you be that drunk? But then they put out these big old things like that, and I'm like, oh, wait, they threw back a lot of alcohol, right? Enough to where it's like, if somebody who doesn't drink that often drank it, they'd probably be barfing all over the place. But this might have been like an everyday kind of thing, or every other day, whatever, for them. So I think this comment here that they're making of like, well, some people have a different personality, I think that's at the center of this. I think she definitely did. Now, I haven't seen enough. Obviously, I didn't know George. Obviously, I haven't seen much of him, right? Except for, I didn't even see him, but hear him in the suitcase. But the little bit we've learned, it's like, yeah, he probably did get drunk at a certain point. Some acted a different way or whatever. And especially if you're dealing with somebody who's antagonistic as Sarah. But I think it's an interesting point that they bring this. And notice that she says this, Sarah goes, well, sometimes, or it depends. That tells me, okay, so yeah, she knows exactly what they're talking about, right? She's like, well, that depends if it's a Bartles and James night versus, Mad Dog. Okay, because those are two totally different evenings. And I mean, honestly, I get it, okay? 100%. We've all been there. We had some discussions in live chats and stuff like that, and on Patreon and whatnot, about like our first, time that's like teenagers or young adults, whatever it was, for you getting drunk, and your memory of like, I can still smell fill in the blank, right? And somebody of that story is like, yeah, trust me, I get it. It can be a totally different evening depending on what you've been doing, okay? So let's keep going.
It's both of us. It's both of us. And it's not fair that you all are assuming that the marks that he has on him are from me.
We asked you where they came from.
I have no idea.
Well, nobody else was there, so nobody else was
I have no idea. I swear I did not lay a hand on him.
Okay. You just zipped them in the bag.
Nor he.
You just zipped them in the bag. And then you flipped the bag around several times.
I didn't do that intentionally.
You didn't intentionally flip the bag around?
No. Why would I do that?
Okay. First of all, I love the female detective who's sitting there. Remember, she's pregnant, coughing, sick, whatever, and she's just like over it. So first of all, Sarah's over here. It's both of us. I love how much she talks with her hands. But right here, I didn't touch him. I didn't lay a finger on him. Well, we know she hit him with a baseball bat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think she pummeled this man with a baseball bat. I think she threw him down the stairs. The neighbors have testified. We heard this massive, huge noise falling down the stairs, rattled our wall to the point that we're like, well, what is that? Okay, I think she threw the man down the stairs and flipped it around. Notice how she also tells on herself. When the detective right here, the guy goes, well, you flipped it over. Not intentionally. Okay, but you flipped it over. It doesn't what is the... I remember earlier when she was going on and on and on and on, or the last video or whatever, just know that at a certain point she's talking about, he could stick his fingers through. And remember, at this point she's trying to say, my overt act was when he was sticking his hand out. And so I thought, if he gets out, I'm gonna be killed or whatever. So I'll just leave him in there knowing that he can get his hand out at least and go upstairs and pass out, even though I'm afraid for my life. I mean, you know, come on. But she started off saying, oh, you know, I didn't zip it all the way up. Well, then they finally determined, like, well, why would he be asking to get out if you didn't? Why didn't intentionally zip it all the way up? So she gives a little, and again, this is why cops will go over these things like this over and over and over and over and over. Now, this case is a little bit different because, again, it's almost like Sarah did Walmart's job. So if you follow my channel or True Crime, then you'll know that there's like a direct correlation with people who pull off next level stuff like this kind of crime, right? Not like stealing or drug stuff, but like this level of like major crime, okay? There's a direct correlation in going to Walmart and buying all the things you need for said crime, where you know the second you get near Walmart, you're on video, okay? So it's like Sarah went one step further and was like, hold my beer, Walmart. I'll just record myself doing it, okay? Like, we don't even need to go there, right? The only other thing that would have been like the icing on the cake for this level is if she had gone to Walmart before and bought the suitcase and brought it home, okay? But other than that, she did their job for them. She just recorded the entire crime.
Well, you
Good
told us
question,
you
you
did it.
did.
When he was upside down.
Right.
Well, you had to put him upside down.
You can't get in a suitcase upside
Yeah.
down because
Oh my
What,
gosh.
you put the
See,
stuff
and
in
that's the
where his
unfortunate.
body was?
That's the unfortunate
Was
thing
upside
too, is
down.
nobody else was there. That's the
We have a
unfortunate
video
thing.
showing the suitcase in several different positions. So it shows, one, like she just said, it had to been on its back with the lid open for him to get in there, for you to zip it up. Then it shows it on the other side with him in it, so you had to flip it to there. Then there's another video where it's on its back again, so you had to flip it to
I'm
there.
leaving it like this, please. I'm leaving it like this. I did not intentionally do this.
Okay, when her back is against the wall, this is what she does, right? It's, I did not intentionally do this. Now, again, keep this in mind now that what we're doing is we're watching this through the lens now that we know she is now claiming that she was afraid for her life. It was battered smile syndrome. And that she was scared she would get in trouble, so therefore she's lying because she didn't know that what she did was justified. This is no, okay? No. Now, again, I will say this. I do believe that the lawyer Owens, this is the attorney that came in last minute representing her, I think he's just going down a list and checking it off, and he's doing all the things that other lawyers are like, absolutely not, we're not going to do that, and that she would get into, like, you know, she would fire them over, right? Because now that you see that what she's trying to claim and the evidence against her, this kind of evidence against you, this interrogation and the videos and the 911 call and the body cam footage, it's served up there for the police. Like, most people probably wouldn't have taken this to trial. It's such an airtight case. It's so simple. There's not much to it. So the fact that she's been able to manipulate the system for years astounds me, okay? Honestly, if you remove all the stuff, if you remove what this is about, the victim, all that type of stuff, it's almost like you gotta tip your hat a little bit and be like, I don't know how she did it, but she did it, because this case is so insanely very cut and dry, and we're going like, what, year 5 now? Or into year 5 or 4, whatever, right? Years to go to trial, okay? Years. Let's keep going.
No malicious content or effort was towards this. No malicious.
I would
I'm
say,
disappointed
does that
they
help
did.
you sleep, but you're not sleeping, so.
I mean,
Last night, I
The-
maybe got an hour.
Right.
in your voice, you can hear the maliciousness. The fuck you is very, very,
You don't talk to people
Obvious.
like that. That's not like a common, like,
Nope.
hey, Scott, fuck you.
Sorry. Again. I love these detectives, okay? So if you've been following this, you'll know she got on the stand. I mean, for pre-trial, and just, number one, you know, it's 80s blowout, just gorgeous hair, whole 9 yards, and just has this, like, unaffected affect about herself that I think drives Sarah crazy, right? It would probably drive anyone crazy in Sarah's situation here. Now, again, Sarah comes up with this one line, not malicious. Know that, right? Sarah has come up with these one-liners to this case that I'm just like, it's sad because it has brought this case to this comedic absurdity, right? This absurd level that it just shouldn't be. So, but like you said, the detective, it's like, listen to the video. And again, when they played it in court, it was so sobering. I mean, I know that's a probably a bad word to use in this situation, but you know what I'm saying. To go from these absurd, like, comedic moments of levity with a case and whatnot to hearing George in that suitcase. Babe, I can't breathe. Babe, Sarah, I'm serious. Sarah, and her, pure evil, laughing at him, mocking him. For Sarah to be like, not malicious. It's like, girl, that's like, I mean, that was, malicious is probably being nice, okay? I say pure evil, like pure evil. So to me, watching this, again, not as a, you know, what do you call it, a credentialed person, I felt like we were in that video, we're listening and hearing pure evil come through in her. And that's what drinking, I don't know if she's that way normally, but drinking, drunk Sarah, to me, is a malicious, evil entity.
That's not common. It's not something people do. And no one that sees that is going to think that.
Okay.
So we were trying to give you an opportunity, and it is what it is.
There's no maliciousness towards
Okay.
that.
I would probably be telling myself that too after that video.
My intent was not for that to happen.
But you went upstairs and went to bed. Or maybe you passed out, I don't know.
Waiting for him. And the whole time frame thing, it's like,
Regardless.
that's not really fair.
Regardless, waiting for him, it's not like you walked up the stairs. You can't fly up the stairs, no one can take you up the stairs.
Okay.
You go up the stairs, you lay in the bed, and you wait for him. Who cares if it's 5 minutes? Who cares if it's 30 freaking seconds? He's begging for his life. He's begging to get out. You go upstairs.
You leave them.
It doesn't matter. So get the time frame out of your mind. It
This
doesn't
whole
matter.
thing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's this, so it doesn't matter anything what it is I say.
Okay, pause there. This is a key moment. Number one, you see how they're breaking it down to her about the time frame? Like, she does not grasp in this, and I think she does, but she's also trying to get out of it. Like, I think and I don't know if it's like narcissism or like whatever you call it, but like the disconnected part of her that won't accept the intention behind it, whatever. But notice when Sarah's like, I was waiting for him. This would have been a key moment to say, look, I want y'all to go through my stuff, whatever. She's been begging to go through the phone. I was upstairs because I went up there, if this dude got out, he was going to kill me. So I went upstairs to prepare myself, to hide, or whatever, even though that wouldn't make sense. We don't see that. And then here's the thing, with the defense trying to say, oh, she was scared, so she was making up. She didn't know it was justifiable. Even on that level, it's like, well, number one, like the safety thing. So George is dead at this point. He's not going to be able to get back to her. So this is where it would be like, okay, that part you can be honest about. I would think if you were truly in a situation of being victimized to this degree that you would need to pull off a battered spouse syndrome defense, that at this point in time when there's no way he's coming back, whatever, this is when you start saying, I want you to talk to so-and-so, I want you to look at this, I want you to look at that. And the cops, I think if they went through and started finding this, like, well, wait a minute, so she said to do this. Okay, yeah, there is this evidence that she went to the hospital. Oh my God, he beat her within an inch of her life this one time. You see what I'm saying? Like, this kind of evidence. But as they went through, I mean, first of all, you see what they found on the phone, okay? I mean, like this right here, okay? That's not normal. That's not normal. Like, if you were afraid of somebody to that degree when they got to a certain level of drunk, you're not going to do that to them, what she did to him in the suitcase. But they don't find any of this stuff. And then the evidence they do find that happened between them, like, say, a mutual situation, it's not warranting what she's asking for it to.
It makes no difference whatsoever.
It's just you're lying, and like you're now changing
Who's
your story.
lying about what?
You're now you were drunk.
Oh, I never said that I was drunk.
Exactly, but you did here today. That's okay.
You said earlier.
Everything recorded.
Alcohol.
You blamed it on the alcohol.
You blamed it on the alcohol. Alcohol does a lot to people.
Yes, but I never said I was drunk.
Okay.
Look at how quick Sarah is, and this is what I'm talking about. Sarah's not dumb. Sarah's not stupid. Sarah's highly manipulative. Sarah is very quick. I wasn't drunk. I'm blaming it on the wine. Any normal person, and again, I hate using normal, but you know what I'm saying? Anyone who says a comment like, after doing something stupid, whatever, I'm blaming it on the drinks. What is the insinuation? So for her to say, I never said I was drunk. I mean, to go that quickly, and the cops are already in here. It's all on videotape. Sarah, again, I've said this a million times. Things that record aren't Sarah's friends, okay? They're not her friends at all, right? At all. They just aren't. It's really, really bad, okay? The fact that they're having to call this out to this level, in this moment where she is conniving enough to already start spinning things around within the same conversation. And again, I just go back to this. Imagine a day at home. You know, we hear the neighbors on the stand talking about, yeah, we avoided them. Well, I don't like drunk people. I tried to stay away from them. They argued. It was like, we just had to tune it out. No, absolutely not. And you know that these detectives here who are now, years later, whatever, have to be like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. Because if you're sitting in the room with somebody, you get their vibe, you get their energy. They saw this from start to finish. They've already been here, done that. They know she's lying.
You did this sober. You knowingly left them down there sober.
I have already told both of you also that we were both drinking.
Right.
Okay.
But you want to admit that you were drunk? Is that?
I'm telling you all both. This has changed my life. I will take this. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a true statement.
Absolutely.
What does she want them to say? I'm telling you both this. This has changed my life. Okay, yeah, what about George? It's like, honestly, starting from the 911 phone call, she's pissed that he died. She's pissed that he died, okay? That's what's so shocking. And, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, imagine his family, his kids, his, you know, mom, whoever is still surviving. We've seen his brother on the stand once at this point. Now, again, you might be seeing this deeper into the trial and be like, oh, multiple family members, but at this point of recording, we've seen his brother. Imagine sitting here seeing someone speak this. Now, we've already heard enough evidence and whatnot. We know his family didn't like her. We know that she was texting back and forth with these weird texts talking about, oh, hide and seek I shall. I'm going to work on getting rid of George. So it's clear as to why, you know, she's like, oh, his family didn't like me. Well, it's clear. We get it, honey. Okay, most people don't seem to like her.
But you're trying to dance around the fact that you
So, but what are you,
did leave
okay,
them there.
just.
You left them in there. You're trying to
Oh my
dance around the
gosh,
fact you left them in there.
This is not.
You didn't leave him in there?
It's not cool. Like, this is not cool.
It's not cool.
That it's.
He's dead. It's
But
not
you
cool.
think that I did that intentionally. You think that I did that intentionally.
You intentionally left him in there and left the room. You went upstairs to a different room.
You intentionally did that?
You did.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking he's going to get out.
Okay, and he didn't?
Obviously not.
When somebody's begging, saying, I
But
can't
when you
breathe.
say that, though, but you have to, y'all
Please let me out. I can't
y'all
breathe.
don't know George, though. Like, again, I thought it was the boy crying wolf. So it's just like, what?
Oh, so if your son was in there and said, I can't breathe, are you going to open it, or is he 9, so he's not, you know,
Really?
it's not a big deal?
Boy calling
I'm just a valid
Really?
question.
Well, you
Right.
said you would never put your son in a suitcase. You would only put George in there.
No, George got in a suitcase.
And you zipped it up.
Number one, we know that there's a photograph of her, I think her ex-husband, with the son in the suitcase. They were going to Disney or something as a joke, but nonetheless, creepy. Didn't age well, right? You didn't know George. I thought it was the boy crying wolf. Okay. So even more so, right? I hope, number one, they play the entire interrogation in court. I hope they have a camera on Sarah's face, and I hope they have one on the judge's face. We know he finally watched it, right? You know his mouth had to hit the damn floor when he saw this and was like, all these years, we've been going back and forth, and they've got this on video? You're kidding me, right? I hope they also get up there and really break down the different definitions and versions of intentional. Okay, because this is something where she is not going to admit to reality of what is in front. It's like, this is this. There's a wall in front of us. No, there's not. But it's right there. No, it's not. I don't see the wall, but something's wrong with it if you don't see it. Well, something's wrong with you that you see the wall. It's like this circular conversation that's insane to me, and it is driving me crazy, and that I cannot imagine dealing with this on a regular basis at all. She would drive the Pope crazy, okay? I mean, just like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely next level.
Not all the way and not intentionally to leave him there.
But that's what happened. You keep going away from it.
I don't know.
That's exactly what happened. You went up to bed, woke up the next
Are
day.
you all trying to have me admit that? Like, are you trying to have me admit that? Because I will never admit it because it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah, we might have the answers to why we're here 4 years later. Are y'all trying to make me admit that? Because it's not true. Literally, it's like, because remember, at this point, we know they offered her 15 years manslaughter, okay? Which, if you were to look at things like on a, we're going to do you a favor, it's like, okay, at bare minimum, this is manslaughter. You were dumb, you did a stupid thing, a man lost his life, right? You've already done this time, you can walk out. Her need to be right is going to send her to prison for life, okay? Which at this point, from what I've seen, is where she needs to be, okay? Thank God she didn't take the plea deal, right? Because here's my thing. When someone like Sarah, it's almost like this, like Susan Smith, you know, not to divert from the conversation, but Susan Smith, we know, is trying to go, at this point, trying to go up for parole, depending on when you're watching this, talking about, I've done my time, I've done this. Well, she just got in trouble, got a write-up or whatever. I'll do a separate video on it, but, you know, just whatever. There's been no sign of change. After all these years of taking her little boy's life, she's still up to her old thing. She's still up to her stuff. Me. Sarah has exhibited this in just a few years that we've gotten to know her. I have no doubt that there could be somebody in Sarah's situation who, when this happened, and it really sunk in, and they were like, my God, you know what, my ex and I, George, whatever, we were living terrible, really horrible things happen. I'm going to work, I can't take it back, but I can change, and I can move, you know what I'm saying, like whatever, even if that change starts to take place in prison and then come out, whatever the case is, right? We don't even see that here. She has doubled down and gotten worse and worse, in my opinion, you know, and then continue, I mean, even now with trial going on, it's like they keep diverting and changing and lying. And I'm like, this isn't getting any better, right? So there's been no sign of that, and it blows my mind.
I'm basically stating as a fact because that's what happened.
Okay.
You videotaped him asking to be let out. You go upstairs.
So what, guys? So what? Like, just, I don't know what you want me to say other than it was not out of maliciousness or intentional. I don't know what or how I can say it. I love George. Love him. To this day still. Love him.
Love makes you do crazy things.
It's not one of those things where it's like, oh gosh, you know what, I've done enough for you at this point. I never gave up on him.
Okay.
Why I'm here today, I'm still not giving up on him. I would do anything for him.
Well, you gave up checking up on him.
Someone please send this woman a dozen roses or whatever she like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever she like, Starbucks, something, okay? After that whole dramatic performance, and this is what I love about this, the detective here, she has this dry, unaffected delivery. Like I can already, without seeing her face, I know the look on her face when she said that line. Like, well, you gave up checking up on him. And it sends Sarah into oblivion is what's amazing about it, right? Now, if you've been watching, if you saw her on the stand, then you know the detective, at least. You already know what I'm talking about. This dynamic right here where Sarah 100% is not going to admit to this. And, you know, and I go back and forth because on one aspect, it's like, well, no, I mean, for your best interest, it doesn't matter how obvious it is. You shouldn't be admitting to something like this in this scenario. Now, we know she tried to get this evidence suppressed and the judge said no, right? It's going to go through for this very reason, because none of us would want this to go out if we were Sarah, right? I mean, please, come on. It's very damning to her case. The way that she turns this around, like at the very end of it, and this is where the little truth moments come out with her. You know, it's not like I gave up on him, you know, or whatever. I did so much more. How, you know, again, she looks at George, or looked at him, to me, like he was a pet. Okay, that's how she talks about him. Like he was like a pet rock or something, okay? And so then like, I never gave up on him. That's why I'm still here for George, whatever. What are you talking about? What are you even talking about? You're running the man's name through the mud, right? I get they didn't have this wonderful relationship. I get they each had their own issues. I get they had stuff going on, okay? But when we sat there and saw that suitcase come out in court, and especially for those of us, like, you know, the jury might not have pieced it all together yet, but for those of us who've been following it, we see that suitcase, we see the detective or the medical, or whoever the, you know, crime scene person having a hard time opening it. We've heard the video. You want to talk about, I'm here for George? Huh? What are you talking about, Sarah?
We're simply just trying to go through. I mean, again, you gave us a completely different story that you churched up to. This was such a laughing matter.
It was fun.
Not by that
all
video.
Day.
Not by that video. That part
all day.
wasn't. Anybody looking at it doesn't. I don't think anybody would look at that video and go, George is having fun right now.
So why is it you all think that y'all don't know me. You don't know me.
Nope.
Would do something like that, especially having a 9-year-old son.
I don't know.
Like
what
why?
having a 9-year-old son would be.
Like
Why are you so like caught on what we think?
Yeah.
Okay, pause right there. Now, we already learned from Brian, her ex-husband, the father of her son that she's talking about, who, yes, is 9 at the time. I think he's going on 14 now. We've already learned from him, Brian, who was like, yeah, you know what? I had to call to check up on Sarah because it was her day to pick up our son. Yeah, well, why? To make sure she should, gets there in time? No, she had an issue with, showing up to get him. So, what would she be late or whatever? No, she just sometimes would, I had to make sure she was even going to show up, or she just wanted me to go ahead and just, keep him and take him for her time instead, take her time over. So Sarah wants to pull, the card of the child out, and people often do this. We see where it's very easy to hide behind children, right? You know what I mean? Like this, like, I have a son. Why do you think I would just, girl, please? You know what I mean? No. She's one of these types right here talking about that. She's got 3 damn cigarettes going in the car, windows rolled up, with the kid in the car talking about anything to protect my baby. You know what I'm saying? It's like, doesn't make it make sense, Sarah. Okay, make it make sense, right? That part right there, I'm just like, no, Sarah, do not sit here and try and use the card of I have a son, so therefore I want to do this, okay? No, it's not gonna fly. You're already getting exposed on the stand, okay?
Because
You should be more concerned about what you've told us.
It's because
And
like you guys
The
are like
fact that George is
trying.
dead.
The things that the video shows that are opposite of what you told us, and then what you've now
Like
told
what
us
is
here today.
opposite?
Well, you said that it was funny, and you're the only one laughing.
We were playing before that.
Okay.
But then it stops.
Yeah.
It obviously stops being fun,
Well,
because you're screaming at him, he's
I'm
begging
not
to get
screaming
out.
at him.
Sounds like screaming to me.
I don't know what you all want me to tell you. In no way, shape, or form was this intentional. At all. Ever.
Okay. Are you still going to allow us to do your fingernails?
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to get that set up.
So now at this point, they're getting ready to just, they're going, now there's still a good little bit of the interview left, but we're getting down into the cops are realizing we've gotten all we're going to get out of her. They probably also realize they've gotten a lot of damning information. Now keep in mind that at this point, they are going to arrest her. She doesn't know this. So that's what's going to take place. Now again, she has not moved off of this. Now remember the beginning of this clip or the end of this clip right here, whatever it was, where they're like, why are you so caught up on what we think about you? I think that is also at the heart of Sarah and why we're here 4 years later, because she cares. You see her in court. You've seen her throughout this where she's very concerned about media. I have fans all over the world. Some even as far out as Mars and Uranus. You know what I mean? Like, she's intergalactic, okay? So she very much cares. Very much cares, and she probably doesn't want to be known as a murderer, even if it's manslaughter. Would any of us? No. Okay, I get that, right? I'm not trying to say that. I don't, whatever. I get that. But she's in this situation right now, okay? And so it's like, it's here. It's happened. You want second degree or you want manslaughter? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to have to pick. And she's wanting to go left over here to, well, we're just going to try and get it all gone. And she might be thinking like, well, hold on now. Anthony, she got that documentary. She went free. She did this. Imagine this. Now, here's the thing. Well, it depends. I was going to say Sarah at some point will go free. If she gets convicted, I have a feeling she'll probably get a pretty lengthy prison sentence, way more than the minimum. Pretend she did the 15 years. Okay, so at some point, or 15 years, or she gets off of this. The infamy from this, she's toast. Okay, regardless, she's toast. Not probably as much as like Casey Anthony. Sarah probably wants to think she's as infamous as Casey Anthony. She's not. But she's in that realm, okay? But not quite like the same as like, Jodi Arias, Casey Anthony, these mega cases. But look at Casey Anthony. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, you're free, go. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? Like, good luck showing your face anywhere, which she apparently doesn't have a problem. And I don't think Sarah would either, because I think at the heart of it, Sarah likes attention. Doesn't matter how negative it is, right? The average person, we'll use the word average, right? Or more averagely balanced person, let's say, would probably be like, oh God, yeah, sure, I'll never show my face again, okay? I think Sarah would gloat in that. I think she would want to get on a reality TV show. She's already been on some game shows, right? So it's that kind of energy here. So we're getting ready to watch all this part where they're going down the pipeline, and she's not going to be happy, especially when we get to the part about getting arrested.
Do you need any more water? No, but when you come back and I ask about this,
Yeah.
So what?
Just don't understand.
So it
I don't
wasn't...
understand how your story changes so much to the
How
fact
is
that...
it changing? Please help me explain,
Well,
understand.
You went on about how this was such a playful thing and you guys were laughing, and it probably was for a few minutes, but then it obviously changes. The whole demeanor of this whole situation completely changes. It's not the funny, laughing matter. He's not laughing at all.
I didn't think he was being serious.
You absolutely sound serious.
I
When you're
didn't think
answering
so.
them.
Like, just,
You don't think your voice, you sounded serious?
it's, okay. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It was a great day.
It was a great day. Just that alone, with how much she has said it's a great day, the state's gonna rip her apart, y'all, when she gets up there. Even if she tries to take the level of like, I'm lying. Now again, at this point, by the time you see this, we might have already seen her get up. We might have already gone over this. Probably what I'll do at some point is maybe a live chat after like they do this, you know what I'm saying, like in court or whatever. We can go back over, I don't know, we'll figure out something. But okay, so in the beginning when the female detective is walking out and Sarah goes, when you come back, questions, and she goes, yeah, because they know, like, it doesn't really, like, what little questions do you have? Yeah. And then this cop, I don't get how your story changes so much. It's changed constantly. She has to always pivot. And again, one thing that we've seen with people like Sarah, again, I think of Daryl Brooks, or oftentimes any people that are in the cases that we watch that are in their situations, like the perpetrator who's done this kind of thing and exhibits these personality traits. But then if you reduce that down to people who haven't like done atrocious crimes and whatnot, but like maybe somebody, you know, you work with or a family member, whatever, where they are masters at pivoting a conversation, pivoting, like, you know, we're all here, we're kind of arguing or debating or whatever it is, and we go here, but bing, we have to go over here now. Bing, we have to go over here. They change the goalpost. They move the bar constantly because that's the only way they can keep their charade going, because it's very easily dismantled. And that's how Sarah is here. Like, once you paint her into this corner, she's going to sneak out and run to this one. And then once she's completely painted out, she's going to run back to this one. It's just what they do. And this, again, I've said it a million times, they, meaning perpetrators like Sarah, know by doing this, they get what they want, okay? It's just, they get what they want. They know that this works for them, sadly. And sadly, it does. It works for them, and it's very frustrating that it does work for them.
It didn't end well, obviously.
I was going to say, that's, I mean...
I can't explain to you how horrific it was
Okay.
to find him. Horrific. Because I don't remember taking those videos.
Okay.
How horrific. I'm thinking he's in the bathroom. I'm thinking he's downstairs in the laptop. I can't find him. So what's going to happen? Like,
here's what gets me, though, is you don't remember taking videos, you don't know where he is, you don't remember him being in the suitcase, and you're still telling me that you had your wits about you. How does someone have their wits about them when...
See, that's the thing, too. But you can clearly tell that I had been drinking some. You can clearly tell.
Look in just this one little segment, how the circularness. Number one, we start off with, you don't know how bad it was finding George. It was really bad. I cannot stand one of the tactics by people with this personality type here is to victimize themselves. When they're painted in a corner, it's the let me conjure up being a victim. Again, these are all tactics that work for them to get what they want. They know this, they've been trained to do it. They're probably not even aware that they do it because it's so subliminal in their mind. Sarah's probably been this way for years, right? So when she's doing this, and again, imagine his family sitting here watching this, you know, talking about, oh, it was so bad for me, I thought he was downstairs and to find him and you know, and then when the cop goes into the whole thing of like, I don't get it, well, first of all, time out. Multiple times, I don't remember taking the video. Okay. Again, filter that through where we're at now in court, okay, or the trial or whatever you want to call it, the case, whatever. Then the cop talking about, but you had your wits about you. You said you weren't drunk here. You can clearly tell we were drinking. Girl, you're slurring your words. You could probably barely stand up. But you've gone back and forth in this interview of, well, I didn't say we were drunk. I said to blame it on the wine, but that doesn't mean this. It's this circularness. It's like, like, oh my God. You know, when they were done with this interview, like once they got her booked, whatever they do, you know, if they drink or whatever, it's like, I know she's pregnant, but you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever their relaxing thing is, they were like, oh my God, please. Like, this is like mentally exhausting. Imagine living with her.
I had several people that came up to me in that apartment complex said that you were drunk on a daily basis. And
Oh
you were
my
screaming at
gosh.
him
Right,
regularly.
right.
Really?
Right. Talk to the property
Really?
manager. Talk to the property manager.
Okay.
Because it's not,
These are your neighbors, the one that live next to you. Your property manager does not live next to you. They see you every day. How many,
my
you had two neighbors you went
gosh.
to and asked to go
See,
use
that
the
is
restroom.
just
and
not
you said
fair.
No. Hold on. You had two different neighbors that lived directly next to you. You asked to use the restroom and they told you no and turned you away. You had to go across the way to somebody else.
No, okay. Kim and Kim is not a nice person.
Okay.
She's just automatically not nice. Even after me and Lucas went over there and introduced ourselves, she's just not a nice person.
Then why would you think she would let you use the restroom?
Because Eli was in there. Eli comes over and talks to us sometimes, which I think pisses Kim off because he comes over and talks to us. The two of them, they're like super standoffish all the time. My neighbors down the street, down the way, their toilet was broken. They had stuff in the bathroom. So then they're like, go over there and try over there.
There's two bathrooms.
I
So
wouldn't
both
let
are
somebody go
bathrooms?
upstairs and use my personal bathroom.
Please. Okay, so this is another, we've already heard from a couple of the neighbors, the direct neighbors, remember the roommates, whatever, the dudes that were like, yeah, we heard the loud noise coming down. We've seen her passed out on the thing, the patio. Yeah, she was always drunk. Yeah, they argued all the time. I mean, they were that couple, you know what I'm saying, at the complex. Now, the other neighbor's talking about, no, don't go away. You can kind of tell the vibe of what Sarah's talking about without it being said that it's like, yeah, nobody wanted you around. And probably, they probably didn't want either of them around. They knew it was drama. Now, her sitting here talking about this Eli and whatever, oh, well, Kim and Eli and blah, 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 blah. Again, none of these neighbors are going to get up there and say anything good, which is another reason why I find it so alarming or eye-opening, I don't know the right word for it, that Sarah has chosen to go to trial with the state being very gracious in the way of telling her, if you do A, we're going to do B, or have C and D and F get on the stand and say this. Yet she knows these people are not going to say anything good. So it's like that ability of her to either trick herself into thinking differently or that she can talk her way out of it. I don't know which one it was. But just the neighbors alone, she said, talk to the property manager. Well, we already heard the property manager sent the maintenance guy over there, and she told the maintenance guy on the day of the crime, oh, things got out of hand, I was teaching him a lesson. You know, so much of this is obvious of the distorted reality that Sarah lived in. Now, what's sad is you take behaviors and all that away, like isolate everything down to someone lost a life, they lived in a distorted reality, pretend we don't know how obnoxious they are. It's sad to see the pain that can come from the throes of what they were living in and the loss that can come from it, right? Because I think at some point, if there is a soul left in Sarah, which I question, at a certain point she will wake up and say, man, that really sucked. Like, I can't believe I did that. Like, ouch. You know what I'm saying? I think it could take years and it might not ever come because I'm not sure if she has that ability to self-reflect, because that requires a level of self-reflection to be able to look back and say, oh my God, that, you know what I'm saying? Let me change that type thing.
That's what the downstairs one is for.
If it's somebody you like, would you? Or somebody you knew?
They're in the process of doing all this stuff in the kitchen, and there's stuff in the bathroom, and the toilet doesn't work. Just walk across the way, no problem. And of course they let me in. Them and them, they're together. They're families. And nonetheless, if you really want to know, and I hope it doesn't get them in trouble, but he is over here illegally. So he's trying to work on getting his green card.
What does that got to do with you using the restroom?
They didn't want to be involved.
Should I use yours? You gotta use yours.
No, I was asking last night, because, you know, I mean, we had several different people in the
Assuming
neighborhood
that
come up saying
Eli
that
and
she
Kim.
was drunk on a regular basis.
Eli and Kim. Okay. Did you ask Vinny next door?
Those are the ones next door that she asked to use the restroom, and they said no.
No, she said no.
I wonder if Eli and Kim are getting on the damn witness stand. Okay. Very curious about that. You heard. Now, I hope this doesn't get him into trouble, but they've got 5 dead bodies buried in their backyard, but you didn't hear that from me. What was that show? Was that 227? What was that show that used to come on where the girl would stick out the window and talk and gossip? I can't remember what it, but that's what Sarah's given here, right? But that's what I'm talking about. You know, she knew what she was doing. You know, and again, Eli and Kim now, again, they could have already gotten on stage or on the stand or whatever. But this is where the deflection, the gaslighting, the this, the that, it's all too much. And again, I'll just say it one more time. The fact that she has no clue or concept that her neighbors view her this way, and that she will double down and try and throw them under the bus and try and paint them to look a certain way and try to be like, oh, you know, Eli comes over and I think that pisses Kim off and blah, blah, blah. There's not nice people and all this. But it's like, but then why would you yell? Like, why would you even do that? If Publix is this close and whatnot, why not just get like, why? What were you really trying to get? She probably wanted to get a drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's probably something else like that. You know, because I've heard, this is complete self-speculation. This is not vetted out, just like rumor mill. Was that they kind of like, you know, were just going around the complex always asking for cigarettes or money and stuff like that. You know, some people probably knew this and ran when they saw him coming.
And like I said, she's not a nice person.
They're coming. What are your questions?
Yep.
I can help you with.
Who's coming?
To do the fingernails.
Yeah, you said that we could.
And you don't have to allow us to do it, just so you know. So don't think that it's.
I don't have a
forcing you.
problem.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So, am I getting my phone back?
No.
Not today.
What about Lucas's laptop?
No.
Not today.
Not today.
What does that mean?
We're still going through everything.
Oh, that's fine.
You're the one just telling us there's videos that we need to see on it, so we need
That's
to do
fine.
our due diligence that we go through everything.
See, and that backfires on me now, too, because now you all think that I had even more, in quotes, intent to do what I did to him, which was not intentional.
Now that backfires on me even more. Yeah, it does, girl. Okay, you begged them to look at your stuff, and they find this on it. They're going through everything. Okay, they found like some little like digital watch, you know, not even like a smartwatch, but like digital thing. Girl, they're gonna see what you got in there. I would want to know. Anybody would at this point. Now, also, we know they're honing in. Okay, they know they're gonna arrest her. These little questions. First thing, am I getting my phone back? Am I getting Lucas's computer back? I mean, you hear the female detective. Not today. They know. It's like, girl, no, honey, we're way past. Getting your phone back? Are you serious? After we found this on it? Please. Like, this is just the beginning. God only knows what else is on there. But this is the origins. We know now at the trial, or pre-trial and all that, she's been trying to get that. She is convinced that there's evidence in this phone that is going to exonerate her. And just make all of us, you know, be like, we are just terrible people. We should have known, right? I mean, come on.
Is that correct?
She's asking about your tag in your hand.
No, but I'm asking if that's correct.
No, I'm not going to
We're not
agree to
making
anything that
assumptions.
you're saying. I'm not, that you're...
So, his probation officer,
Mm-hmm.
do you all inform her, or do I need to call her?
We don't have to inform her, so if you would like to call her, you can. Are you saying because he's still on probation?
No, but because of the nice lady that she is and all that she's done for him, I didn't know how it was.
Legally, we just have to tell his parents, and we don't go telling,
Everybody else.
I didn't even know who his probation officer was, so no, I wouldn't go tell
So
him.
the same thing for classes. I need to do that too.
This is my theory. Number one, you hear her, no, because of the nice lady that she is. She's trying to make it seem like they're not decent people by that tone that she's giving them. But also, I think Sarah's trying to make it like, almost like she's sitting there waiting for them to say, well, you don't need to do that because you're not going home, which she's about to find out here in a little bit. But it's like that kind of energy or whatever. But again, it's like that gaslighting. Now, also notice here in this, and this is just another little bit of the timeline thing, where she's talking about his probation officer. It's my theory and my personal thoughts, and I say that because I'm not trying to make it like it's a fact or whatever. And other people have said this too, so it's not like I'm trying to take ownership of it, but it's just like one of my thoughts. She probably held stuff over George's head with threatening to call a probation officer and get him in trouble. And that could be very well how she got in the suitcase. Like, oh, I called the cops, you better hide in the suitcase. You know, or I called the cops, go do this. I think that she probably completely manipulated this man with him being on probation and hanging that over his head and whatnot. So her going through this little list and just being like, you know, oh, we need to call that. Oh, what about the classes? Well, I need to do this and blah, blah. She's acting, you're seeing another side of the real Sarah and another side of Sarah, because see how she's acting annoyed by it. Okay, well, I guess I need to do that too. I think this is probably how she acted with George. Like, I could see her throwing back a gallon of wine and being like, okay, George, what are we doing tonight? Well, I guess I'll do this. And almost like making, like, again, cosplaying. Like we've been joking in the live chats where she's cosplaying an adult with her little business outfit and Post-its. It's almost like that, where it's just like, she needs to take care of George more than he needed her to do so, if that makes sense.
Classes. He needs to do what?
Substance abuse class and his battery
Counsel.
intervention.
Yeah, we
Something
don't
else I
have
was
to
just
call
getting ready
him.
to ask. So, other than this, so initially, what was the cause of death?
She is still pending because she wants to hold the body for an additional day to see if more of those bruises turn into something bigger. And she's doing some other tests that she's got to do. So she's pending it for now.
So, and that couldn't have been because of him being in the suitcase? Or
That's
y'all are
her-
saying
she-
that I
that's what-
physically did it?
That's what she's determining.
So,
The ones on the head, I asked her, could that have been from the suitcase, and she said she didn't think so.
I didn't touch him, nor did he touch me.
Okay.
I'm leaving it at that.
Okay.
I'm leaving it at that. Now, again, we know now that these injuries have come forth. We've learned about the baseball bat. We've learned about that. Depending on when you're seeing this, when I record versus when I recorded this, we might have even more information. But she said, he didn't put a hand on me, I didn't put a hand on him. Well, again, we know she's lying, but also there's a level of she doesn't know what she did, right? So she's so confident about this, but it's like, girl, you don't even remember making the damn video. So how do you know you didn't do this? I think she pummeled the man with the baseball bat. I think she threw him downstairs and she pummeled him, right? Whether she remembers or not, it's irrelevant. And that's the part she doesn't get. And more than that, she doesn't want to get it.
So, I don't know if you all know how to do this, because so that's what I was going to get ready to ask you. So, are you all updating his parents today, or when you get the final whatevers?
What does it matter what we tell his parents? What do you mean?
Because
We're gonna talk with them.
Yeah.
okay,
I have to
but it's going to
like-
come down to me.
What do you mean?
Like, so it's being put on me.
Who said that?
But I'm not, so what is it you would tell them?
We're gonna give them an update, just like we gave you an update on their autopsy.
Okay, so it's whatever
Well,
bruise,
here's
scratch,
the thing,
and
here's the thing.
whatever on the head.
We had to deliver news to them last night that their son was dead. There's not a whole lot of conversation that goes on after that. It's not a very easy thing to do.
Was it yesterday or Sunday? Sunday. Today's Tuesday, right?
Did we not meet you yesterday? We met you yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
I'm just asking. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I'm talking. So remember, she's trying to say battered spouse, I was lying to them. She can't remember what day it is. She can't remember what's going on. She can't remember a thing on here. No, that's not how this works. Now, this whole part right here, where she's talking about, are you going to tell the parents? What does it matter? I know the detective want to say, you're getting ready to go to jail anyways. So it's on me. So it's just coming back on me. Yes, Sarah, it is, okay? I pray, and it could have happened by now, right? I pray his parents get on the stand and tell their truth about Sarah. Because I think the jury is going to, number one, already have guessed it, but their mouths will be on the floor. Like, seriously? Imagine the jury when they watch this. Imagine the jury. And again, it could have already happened at this point, but this part right here just gets me with this list.
Did we not meet yesterday?
It's a valid question.
Really? Yes, on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Perfect.
So I don't know if I ask you guys or how I find this out other than talking to his parents, which is not going to happen.
Yeah, probably a terrible idea.
How do you guys suggest me finding out about funeral?
Yeah.
That's not even something that's been probably talked about between the family. That's not something we ask. We have no way of...
I didn't know, that's why I'm asking.
It's gonna be up to them to make their arrangements of what they want to do. Like she just told you this quick, just being told last night, I'll pretty much be willing to wager that they have not even considered what they're gonna do.
His body can't even be released,
No.
so.
I've been there with parents, grandparents, aunt and uncles.
Again, I think this part right here is just a fishing expedition with a funeral and with this and that and blah, 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 blah. It's another way for her to try and make the family look bad and this and that and the other. It's also at the center of it, her trying to figure out if she is in trouble. Now remember, according to Sarah, she went in here not knowing she was going to get arrested, not knowing she was going to be interviewed. So even if she had this list of questions, think of the way that she's framing this. Well, what about a funeral? Well, what about this? Well, how do I do this? These are not, why would you question that if you didn't think you were going to be in trouble or get arrested? You make funeral plans. Imagine somebody in your house, true accident, whatever happened, fell down the stairs, killed himself. You go into the police do their investigation, you're going to pick something up there from the police station. Why would you ask the police how to go, some of these questions that you're asking, unless you were trying to figure out if you were in trouble and going to get blamed for it, period.
So, I don't know if I have the right to or not, but like I was going to call his former employees whom he really cared for and let them know.
You can call whoever you want.
I just don't want to do something that I'm not supposed to.
Again, why would you ask this? Why? And all this has to be a red flag to the cops. You can do, well, I'm going to make sure I don't do something I'm not supposed to. Girl, what are you talking about? Why would you ask that? This is what she, am I going to jail? Am I in trouble? That's what's really going on. She, again, it's just, she tells on herself, but then she doubles down into trying to then say, I didn't tell it myself. It's very psychologically bizarre and fascinating.
How do I go about getting his wedding ring, engagement ring?
It's at the medical examiner's office. It'll come to us eventually, and then
It'll be released to the next of kin.
Yeah. Okay.
I bought it for him.
Okay.
That is a civil issue. It was on his finger, it goes to them, they're the ones that are going to release it. We don't have any say in that.
So I won't get that back.
Even if you felt that way, even if it was, pretend it was a legit accident, person fell down the stairs, 100% you're not gonna, they know that you didn't do it. Why would you even say that out loud in this moment? Then add the layers of the case on that we know so far. How do I get the wedding ring back? I paid for it. Seriously? No. Again, she tells on herself completely tells on herself. I paid for it. Okay, you want a cookie?
So for all of this, like, how do I find out what's what, how many, like, what's been found?
What do you mean?
Pillow with stain, swabs of stain from pillow, suitcase.
That will all be sent off to
FDLE.
FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They do their testing.
So, and then like whatever white can with blood and necktie with blood was from the suitcase.
Correct.
Why would you guys, oh, you'll see it in there, the baseball bat for Lucas. And the receipts. And this is just his phone, my phone, and then the laptop.
Yeah, when anything can be released, we will release it, but we are very early in this investigation, and it's not an overnight process, unfortunately.
Why would you ask about that evidence that you were going to donate or throw away? What about the baseball bat? Again, well, we know she used it against him. It's a fishing expedition, is what it is. Now, even if you look through the lens of, well, I was lying because I was afraid, I didn't know that what I did was justified. Again, that guilt factor of like, well, what do you need the baseball bat for? Why? What does it matter? What do you need the suitcase for? What about that? And the cops, this is where it gets super cringy to me and awkward, even no matter how many times I watch it, because it's like, it's so obvious what's going on. And again, now that we know that she's trying to double down and talk her way out of it, it just makes it even worse.
What's next?
They're going to come and swab your fingers.
No, I'm talking about like in the long run. Like, what do I need to like, do I need to be doing something or like?
I can't tell you what to do.
I mean, like, so, like, for, like, I don't understand, like, I don't know if you guys are just gonna, like, because it makes it sound like, to me, like, I'm being accused of something that was not intentional. I'm being accused of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a handful of other things that I'm being accused of.
Okay.
So I don't want to be at home with Lucas and you guys show up.
Okay.
I understand that.
So,
We're still investigating. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
so is there going to be concrete whatever it is, and then it's like, okay, this is what it is kind of thing, or like, because I've done the whole court thing, I've done the whole attorney thing, I've done whatever. So if I'm not admitting anything about being intentional and I killed George.
She is doing everything she can to avoid, am I going to get arrested? That's literally all she was wanting to ask. Now this part right here, I'm doing everything to avoid this or that. Now also the part where she's talking about, well, I don't want to be home with Lucas. Again, he's bringing the kid up. And y'all come running up in there because I've been accused of something. Yeah, I'm getting accused of this and whatnot. Does this sound like somebody who is lying to the cops to cover up something that they did to save their life? Does this sound like someone is seen as how desperate in a sense that she is? Don't we think if she had that ace up her sleeve that she would have pulled it? You see what I'm saying? She would have pulled it. I think she would have. I think she would have 100% at this point. Now, what we're going to do is this because we're getting ready to get into the fingernail thing and the arrest. We're going to go ahead and wound it out because according to my time here, this is going on like an hour and a half or whatever. So we're going to finish this one here. There'll be, just one more after this, right? And I'll get to it in a couple of days. I want some more testimony to come up. I'll record it or whatever, and we'll finish this out. And it'll probably be another hour and a half video or whatever for the last one. But, I try not to make them too long. I'm sorry. But again, overall, let's close out with some thoughts here. So once again, as we've seen in all of them, not willing to admit to anything, except that it was not intentional. Number two, fishing expedition. So she went in there with this list of questions to try and see what's going on, because to me, and this is just my opinion, you don't ask these questions if something's legitimately an accident. I mean, I'm thinking like when my father passed, and it was like a natural passing. This is decades ago, and we were at, number one, it was natural, so there wasn't like a police investigation, is what I'm getting at, right? But even at the hospital, there's just no questions that come up when something's more like normal, if you will. So these questions that she's asking are just not things that one would normally ask, and then the selfishness comes through with it. Well, what about his ring? What about this? Well, I guess I want to get this back. That whole narrative that she spends. The fact that she knows this exists, that she's had the chance to see it, and that she's still trying to double down, and that they're covering it, meaning the defense team, in the blanket statement of she was lying. She was lying. She was afraid because this guy had a gun, or the female did too, whatever. No. And I think the jury will see right through it. And at this point, like I've said, I don't think she cares about spending her life in prison. I think it's probably a little bit of a nicer life than she had on the outside. If she's remained sober in prison, she's probably living the best life she has. She gets all this attention. She's sober. She looks way healthier now than she did before. She gets commissary. She doesn't have to pay bills. She probably has people to talk to all day long. It's probably kind of a nice life for her, right? I think if it wasn't, she would have been more, proactive, and number one, she would have taken that deal. Anything to get back out, okay? Because that would have put her out very quickly. But it's almost like she's sitting here, I'm going to take it to the edge. To me, in my opinion, again, it's not me, but it's like if she cared about her child as much as she pretends to, she would have done whatever it would have taken to gone in and out as fast as possible. Now, if this truly was a scenario where she is being railroaded, I would understand that more, and having to really be like, I do not want to plead guilty to this. You can't get around that evidence. You can't get around it. Period. So anyways, let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you're still watching, I do appreciate you for hanging out this long with me. I know I can get kind of annoying, okay? But that's it. We're following along. Check the podcast channel, because if this is coming out during the trial, we're live streaming when I can, when I'm not working, when I'm free, and then doing recaps over here, and then this kind of stuff and whatnot, looking at it through the lens of, knowing what we know now. So anyways, that's it. Thank you very much. If you could drop some sofas off in the comment section for myself, Roscoe and Spirit, and Bo and Luke, who are running around in their separate little areas over there. And that's it. Until we meander our way down to the comment section to talk about this case and all the other ones we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. Also, if you're looking for merch, be sure to check out my Teespring store. I'll put that up here. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.